so difficult to understand for people.
Yeah.
He's using words very precisely.
Right.
For him, only humans exist, and existence means socio-historical past. You're characterized not merely by biological beginning. You have that because you do live, you're an animal, but you also exist, meaning you fall into socio-historical being, a sort of consciousness with others that's part of language, its history, historicity itself, the very fabric of tools, the shape of the world around you. And then also, you have awareness of your own death, and you have awareness of yourself reflexively. And so there's a radical magnification of what we mean by the past and the future when we move from lives to exists. And all of these are different ways of dealing with part and whole in, I guess, a phenomenological way.
It sounds like when you talk about this, this distinction on, or this semantics game, I guess, on this word of existence, it seems like there's a degree of participation, and once it hits a critical point, it becomes existing in this latter sense that you're talking about. Is that at all accurate, Corey? I mean, what do you think about that?
I think it's awareness of the participation in a reckoning. It's a sort of a waiting that retains and anticipates. I think humans are ambiguous in a way that other creatures aren't. Mm-hmm. I don't think other creatures are burdened with the ambiguity of their being. They have a graceful innocence that keeps them from being bored or alienated in wonder.
Yeah, you say we're the only
bliss. Is that right?
We're the only animal that doesn't have a nature. You could almost put it that way.
We're the most plastic, right? It's what's sometimes called the disinhibiting ring of relevance and availability. So different creatures have an availability and a relevance structure that allows certain items to enter into experience, but in very prefigured ways. Humans can be open or not to things.
So do you think what distinguishes us as existing human beings rather than merely living beings or extant, objects? Do you think it's?
So we're all three. We're all three. But we ultimately exist. Yeah. I mean, I am a thing in space and time. I do live, and I exist.
Right.
I have all of the dimensions of being. But okay.
Right. But what gives us this existence that other beings may not have? Is it our awareness of death, our being towards death, or is it language, or is it a combination of factors?
I think for Heidegger, it's a radical combination of multiple factors. It might be seen as a crypto-religiosity. I mean, I think early Heidegger certainly was very interested in finding a biological orientation that would make room for a spirituality that occurred in organic life. I think how do you say it? I think it has to do with everything about the human. It's the upright posture, it's the hand, it's language, it's certainly historicity, it's art, it's the ability to do abstract math, it's conscious control over memory rather than just memory itself.
Right. So
it's awareness of death.
So it would be too simple just to point to one thing and say that's what makes us human. It's more like a combination of these different factors.
Very dangerous to just reduce it that way. Those are people who are fearful of the ambiguity and they want a solution. This is the Golda Meir once said, if your only tool is a hammer, all the world's problems will look like their nails.
Right. Okay, well, unless there's anything else that you really wanted to get to in your book, we could move on. And I wanted to ask you what you think Marshall McLuhan, the media theorist, would have thought of YouTube or this type of a communication technology, and also how that might relate to the future of education, and if you think that video is going to play a larger and larger role in this.
Woo! That's a toughie. I would say a couple of things. McLuhan said any time is a good time to live as long as it isn't changing too rapidly. That would be not a good thing for us.
Right.
He also, in one of his less known books called McLuhan in the Light, which is a collection of his religious writings, there's a chapter, a kind of odd chapter, where someone interviewed him and they said to him, McLuhan, you're known to be very difficult to read and enigmatic. What exactly are you saying? Can you just answer this? Are you basically an optimist or a pessimist? And he said, oh, I've never been either of those. Apocalypse is our only hope. So he was devout Catholic who was a little bit odd, man. He said things for shock value oftentimes, so he's hard to beat on. I think that he would say something fucking, excuse me, oh shit, can we?
I've already broken the barrier down, so.
No worries.
He said something for shock value and something really graphic and something that would have left people puzzled and arguing about what he meant. Did the sound go out?
No, we're still here.
Oh, good.
Who does things for shock value? Who would do that? Anyway, sorry.
I think, from my own perspective, I am very, if I could just say this, I am very hopeful. And it's people like you, both you, who give me absolute hope that there is, as Eric McLuhan would say, now his son, I think, is a little bit more hip to the electronic revolution that's going on. People should look at his work, Laws of Media, and some of his other stuff. Yeah. But Eric would say that there is a grand renaissance going on, and there are people, and I see it in my students definitely. But there are young people who are aggressively reading books. They're ferociously into book culture, and then they go and they watch videos, and they watch these people, and they go read Chomsky, and then they watch videos, and they read Martha Nussbaum, and then they go watch videos of her. And there's this real dramatic multidisciplinarity and synthesis and coming together of so many different fields on YouTube that it's going to be amazing for some people, young people, certainly not everyone, but for some young people, but it will also mean a rapid acceleration of the divide between the haves and the have-nots. And I mean the intellectual haves and the have-nots.
That's right.
Certainly you have to have the computer access, but for the people who have the computer access, half of them are sitting around watching the fart channel and the other stupid stuff.
Right.
But and not everyone some people think that, and it's this self-aggrandizing, comfortable lay around having a latte. They think they're going to watch videos rather than do books. These people are dead in the water. But the people who are reading like hell and watching videos and balancing that, they're going to conquer, man. They're going to take over the world. I give them about 20 years. And those are going to be the people who are going to be leading the world. The people who can manage the context of each new medium. But those who abandon literacy, they're doomed.
That's right.
They are doomed. You cannot maintain adequate reflection on your own language without literacy.
It just seems like you could have said this, 20 or 40 years ago about whatever the next wave was, and it seems like the formula is learn how to surf the upcoming wave, see it coming, and then learn how to surf it. Right. And it seems like that's what you're pointing out, and you sink or swim, don't you?
Yeah, but it seems like you're optimistic that the literate culture is not going to die, even in the face of all these video technologies. That the video will actually allow literacy to sort of have a new renaissance, or is it? At
least for people who are right now 19 and 20 and who've been already raised on literacy and were protected from the computer from a certain age. Yeah. Kids who are right now weaned at the teat of the electronic cyborg. I don't know. Some of that makes me nervous.
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems like maybe my younger brother is 18 right now. He might be the last generation to ever, I mean, he was probably 7 or 8 by the time he got his first computer. So that's still pretty young. But, myself, I was 12 or 13. And
I got all the way through graduate school. I got my PhD at Purdue in '98, and I came to Grand Valley, and when I was there, I got email for the first time, and I went, email? I was so suspicious. I'm an absolute dusty old book person. I got involved in the Media Ecology Association, and then from there became, anybody who knows me, they would be very suspicious of the whole idea that I'm here on YouTube. They would think that someone's taken over my body, that I've been abducted, and that something strange happened. I've tried to justify it by explaining that I'm doing a paper on all of this. I think some people
this is all research.
Not buying. I wish I had more subscribers. I wouldn't feel so shrimpy, but what do you do?
Yeah. Well, hopefully, we'll all be able to help each other out.
It's a tough market. I can see. I mean, you're competing with fart jokes.
Yeah, you can't.
If we can only integrate fart jokes and then the philosophy, some beautiful
that's a project of integration we get to accomplish.